She was born with a horse face. Wait till you see her 2 decades later. Grace McDaniel was born attractive, but later one small change in her face led her to win the title of the most unattractive woman. Born in the small town of Numa, Iowa, Grace McDaniel looked much the same as any other woman of the time and was even considered attractive. However, in her case, events later took a terrible turn. She came from a farming family, and the only thing that made her stand out from the others was the birthmark on her face. Her parents didn't think much of it at first, but they soon realized there was an issue. Grace was quite self-conscious of her appearance when she was younger. She had to face many difficulties as she was regularly made fun of for her unusual appearance. So, she used to cover her birthmark with makeup. Over time, the issue grew significantly worse and became worrisome for Grace and her family. She developed a fold of extra skin that hung approximately 4 inches below her chin and had a disfigured face as a result of things getting worse with time. It was eventually discovered that Grace had Sturge-Weber syndrome instead of a birthmark. The disease was a rare condition and the unlucky woman's features were terribly damaged and her face was severely distorted. Grace in fact developed into a real freak by puberty. When girls start to change features during puberty age, it appeared that Grace had some odd lump on her face that gave her the appearance of a strange, disgusting doll. Sadly, her face resembled a horse's face quite a bit as well. Although she wasn't particularly gorgeous, the disease, fortunately, had no impact on her mind. Grace had both a good heart and a smart mind, despite the fact that the sickness was typically accompanied by severe mental decline. She never gave up on herself, constantly tried to help others, and was intelligent and well-read. But only a few people were interested in talking to her, much less making friends with a weird female. Additionally, Grace was unable to talk as the swelling surrounding her lips grew larger over time. As a result, the girl almost entirely withdrew into her own world of reading and reflections on her situation. Grace understood that her chances of experiencing happiness were extremely slim. She was also ready to take anything she could from her doubtful appearance. On the other hand, the woman made the decision to enter a beauty contest to determine the most unattractive woman. A competition was held in 1935. Grace won by a huge margin. It is difficult to think that such an event could be planned in the modern era, and it's doubtful that anyone would decide to take part. But winning an odd competition completely changed Grace's life. Grace the American was in reality observed at the tournament by a significant individual, the proprietor of a freak show. It must be acknowledged that such shows were highly well-liked back then. The performers received considerable pay and even some renown, even if it was dubious. Grace received an invitation to join the group right away following the contest. It was quite challenging for an American to get over her pride and embarrassment and start flaunting herself in front of the public. The woman made a tremendous effort to conceal how it made her feel that everyone was making fun of her appearance, but Grace got a big reward for her pain. She was paid a fantastic salary which was impossible for most people to afford at the time. Grace received about $175 per week for her performances, and the Americans started to treat herself to anything she desired, including exquisite outfits and shoes. Grace consequently tried to hide some of her flaws, which ironically helped her make a lot of money. Surprisingly, the woman with the horse face even had admirers. Grace yearned for love so desperately that one day she confided in a circus performer with whom she shared a bed for the night. After that, the man unexpectedly disappeared from Grace's life. But as a result of that day's evening, a lovely boy was born. Elmer was a healthy baby, and he was also very handsome. As Grace raised her baby child, she was overjoyed. Elmer adored his mother and felt she was the most beautiful woman in the entire world. The boy grew up to be a lovely man. He was extremely attractive and wealthy because of his mother's wealth. The man took over as his celebrity mother's manager and administrator and for many years and had no need at all. The family's idyllic life was nevertheless ruined by Elmer's addiction to alcohol and substance. At the same time as he made large purchases, Grace's fame started to dwindle. She was left with nothing in her pocket, and in the year 1958 she passed away in abject poverty. A few years after her mother passed away, the charming Elmer also left this world. Despite not being particularly attractive, Grace experienced many happy times. She was wealthy and well-liked by the public, but all of that was now out of her control. And the one thing that truly made Grace happy was her beloved son. Even though her journey on this earth was not without difficulties, the horse-faced woman shared many great moments with her Elmer.